Hello everybody, one more time. My name is Alex Centeno with Mercado's Interactive Partners, located in the Research Triangle area in North Carolina. And our focus is to help businesses of all sizes make more money through the use of a strategic website design, custom digital media development, and web marketing. For more information, you can contact us at 888-525-8117 or visit us on the web at mercados.com. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at something that a lot of people like to do, but if you're an aspiring digital media artist, this is the majority of the work that you're going to be doing with images, which is to grade your either images and if you're doing still graphics, or on the other hand, grade your video if you're dealing with motion graphics. So the idea behind grading is basically the first side is color correcting so that it actually is accurate in terms of black and white, and then the second part is adding a purposeful cast so that we add drama to a dramatic effect to that image or video. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to try to do it pretty fast, so make sure to use your pause button in the YouTube video player. Let's get to it. Here I have an image from Stock Exchange, so we want to thank them for that. The first thing that I'm going to do is to add here a threshold adjustment layer, threshold. And as you can see, I get here my properties of the threshold, and anything under the threshold level becomes black, and anything over the threshold level that I apply here is going to become white. So basically either white or black. So I'm going to reduce this, and I have my eyedropper here, and I'm going to shift click on the black point, move my slider to the upper level, and shift click on my highlight point and get rid of my threshold layer. But now I have a black point and a shadow point and a highlight point. I'm going to add a curves layer, and in this curves layer I'm going to have here two eyedroppers samplers. Actually have three, one for the black point, one for the middle gray point, and one for the highlight. Go ahead and select the black one, click on the darker point that I selected before, highlight in the highlight, and if you happen to have something that it's gray in your image, you can click on that as well with a gray point. That's pretty much it. That means that this image is color corrected in terms of white and black points, and so let's go ahead and flatten that. You flatten by just right clicking on the images on the layers and then hitting flatten image. Alright, let's get rid of this with Option Shift, and so Option Shift on top, it changes to the icon of the scissors, and we just click on top of it and gets rid of those markers there. Perfect. Let's go ahead and now change to Image Mode Lab. So we're going to change to lab mode as opposed to the RGB that is selected on your image. And of course it depends on the image that you're working with. It could be that it's in the spectrum of CMYK, but the most traditional one is an RGB color spectrum. Right now we're in lab, and what that means is if I bring up with Command M my curves panel here, I can see that I have just three channels: light, A, and B channels. Lightness is the detail, A is green and red, blue and yellow the B channel. Great stuff. Let's go ahead and select A channel here, and let's change the steepness of this curve here to increase the saturation of red and green channel. Of course, I am using the same amount of steepness change in the shadows and the highlights so that it preserves my white point corrections that I did before. Because if I was to only change one, as you can see, it affects the color balance of my image. So I'm going to do about a correction here of 28 points, about so. So if I wanted to be technically correct, it would be 99 for the 28 points or so. Great. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this finger icon here so that I can pinpoint a location here like blue and go down to make that blue bluer, or increase the saturation of that blue. But I don't want to do the same with this part that should be yellow. So I'm clicking on that as well. So you can see now I have two dots there controlling the saturation of those points independently. And I could do the same for a channel, but in this case I'm going to just leave it like that. Perfect. Another thing I'm going to do in the lightness channel is I am going to increase a little bit the contrast. So I am lowering the shadows in the darker areas and increasing the light in the lighter areas, usually referred to as an S-shaped curve for adding contrast. Let's hit OK and go back to RGB mode. All right, so the image is looking absolutely great in terms of color now because it's color corrected, and now we can start with the color grading, and I'm going to do this fairly fast as well. So the first thing is I'm going to double click on the layer and hit OK just to transform this layer from background to now a traditional layer, and holding Option and dragging upwards I'm going to create a duplicate. I'm going to name it duplicate so that we make a difference between them. And I'm going to use image adjustment replace color, and with this replace color panel I'm going to use my eyedropper here on the sky, and I'm going to select the color of the sky. You can see the mask here is indicating what I have selected so far. Alright, and I'm going to manipulate the hue to make it a darker blue. I'm going to increase the saturation a little bit, and I don't want to do it too much because it increases banding here, so make sure that you just are careful of that. And I'm going to reduce a little bit my lightness here to make it darker. And hit OK. And after that we can change the opacity of that layer so that the effect is being mixed with the layer underneath. Second thing we're going to do here is add a photo filter. I'm going to keep the default warming filter 85 here, but increase the density a little bit. And you can play with preserved luminosity or not, depending on the effect that you want. Alright. I'm going to show you a different technique really quick about how to go about a photo filter without actually using a photo filter. So let me just delete this layer, the photo filter layer. Okay, so I don't have the photo filter anymore, and I'm gonna select here a traditional gradient, and I'm gonna use one of my gradients here from yellow to red, transform it to a radial gradient with an angle at 180, and adjust the scale a little bit so that only my edges are becoming red. Alright, and now I'm going to change this to multiply or to overlay, and I can play around with my blending modes to see what's the best effect for me. I'm going to leave it at multiply here, but adjust the opacity as well so that it's kind of in the middle there. And then finally what I'm going to do is add my vignette effect. So gradient, this time I'm going to select a black to transparent, hit OK, radial, reverse it, as you can see, and we're going to hit OK, reduce the opacity, and change it to multiply there. It's not even necessary to change it to multiply, but and there you have it. So let me go ahead and bring in the original image here, and that way we can compare the before and after side by side. So I'm just gonna drop it right here, and I'm gonna add a mask so that we can check out the before and after. Paint bucket. And there you have it. So this is the before, very uninteresting image, just a traditional photo, and this is the after that actually gives us a lot of drama, a lot of interesting effect. It makes us think of what's going on, more on, you know, it allows us to see a lot more how it's sending a message altogether just by the color grading, etc. So I hope that this has been beneficial. I know that I was running a little bit. I didn't want to use too much of your time to share with you this technique, although it's extremely powerful, and you will never see professionally an image that hasn't been color corrected and color treated. Professionally, you want to make sure that you control absolutely everything that your image is sending in terms of communication. So you control absolutely everything from the shadows and lightness to the actual color, the color of the things, background and subject, what is most important, what isn't, and then all the composition itself. So I mean, everything in digital media design and advertising design these days is absolutely manipulated this way so that it sends the right communication, the right message. And so using these techniques, you'll learn how to do this more and more, and so hopefully your productions get a lot more professional. Again, my name is Alex Centeno with Mercados Interactive Partners, and I welcome your comments below. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.